Hello, everybody. This is Bert Dixon. We are going to be working on circumference and area of circles today, which many of you may have already learned how to do this in middle school, but we'll go ahead and go through some examples just to make sure. And so this is section 16.1. And so the two formulas that we're going to use in this section are circumference, which is the distance around a circle, is equal to 2 times pi times the radius of the circle, which is also diameter times pi. So that's circumference. Again, that's like the perimeter of the circle. If you walked around the outside of the circle, how far do you walk? So that's circumference. And then in the second part, we'll do area. Area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. Okay, so in these first couple examples, we're going to find circumference. In example A, the diameter is given as 40 feet. And so you can, once you have the diameter, you can find that the radius is 20, although you don't have to do that. I'll show you two different ways you could do this. So now that we know the radius is 20, we could use this formula. Circumference is 2 times pi times radius. And so the radius is 20, so 2 times pi times 20. Now in this textbook, they use 3.14 for pi, but we will never use 3.14. We have calculators that have a much more accurate approximation for pi, and that is using the pi button on your calculator. And so using the pi button on your calculator, you're just going to go ahead and type in 2 times pi times 20. So whether you have a scientific calculator or a graphing calculator, they all have a pi button, and that's what we want to use. And so when we do 2 times pi times 20, that turns out to be 125.6637061. And they're asking us to, well, they didn't say what to round to, but it looks like they rounded to the nearest tenth. And so with our estimation, that would be approximately 125.7. So you see it's slightly different than what they got by using their 3.14. We will not use 3.14. We will always use the pi button when we're using a formula involving pi. And so your answers are going to be slightly different than the ones in the book, but I would prefer that you always use the pi button on your calculator. And so this is circumference, and so that's going to be 125.7 feet. If you walked around the outside of this Ferris wheel, that distance is 125.7 feet. Okay, in example B, we have a pottery wheel that has a diameter of 2 feet. So the diameter is a distance across, that's 2 feet, which means the radius is 1. By the way, back in this previous problem, instead of using 2 pi r, we could have done diameter times pi, and that way we could have just done used the 40 that they gave us. So if you do 40 pi, that also gives you the same answer, 125.6637061. And so the same approximation for the circumference. So in this one, let's, instead of using 2 pi r, let's use diameter times pi. So the circumference, or sorry, the diameter is 2, so we would just do 2 times pi, and 2 times pi is, using the pi button on your calculator, gives you 6.283185307. And so then if we round that to the tenths place, that's about 6.3 inches. Sorry, that's 6.3 feet, because the problem with the radius was given in feet. So if they want the answer in inches, then we would multiply by 12, because we know that 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. And so then the feet cancel. So then that answer that we got, 6.2831 times 12 is 75.39822369, and that is approximately 75.4 inches. So now we have an answer in inches. So it was 6.3 feet, but that's also 75.4 inches. Okay, now you can pause your video and go ahead and do problems 4 and 5, and then press play when you're ready to check your solution. Okay, so for problem 4, the circumference of the tree is 20 feet. What is the diameter? Okay, so if we say circumference is diameter times pi, we know the circumference is 20 feet. And so that means if we divide both sides by pi, then we get diameter equals 20 divided by pi. 20 divided by pi, you use the pi button on your calculator again instead of 3.14. We always use the pi button. So 20 divided by pi is 6.366197724. And so rounding to the nearest tenth, we get that our diameter is approximately 6.4 feet. Problem 5, the circumference is 32 feet, and we want to know the diameter. So again, circumference equals diameter times pi. Circumference we know is 32. Divide both sides by pi, and we get diameter equals 32 over pi, which is approximately, using the pi button on your calculator, gives you 10.18591636. And so we'll say that is about 10.2 feet. Okay, and then we'll skip to page 855. And we're going to now do the area of a circle. Area is pi times the radius squared. And so in example 3a, we have a rectangle 3 by 6. And we want to know what is the largest circle that can be cut from the cloth. And so if you imagine a circle that goes from edge to edge, since this distance is 3, the diameter is 3, that's the distance across. And so that means our radius would be 1.5 feet. And so then, and they want the answer in square inches, so let's actually change this to feet. The radius is 1.5 feet, which would be 1.5 of 12 is 18 inches. So it's easier to convert it now. And so now we can say the area is pi times the radius squared. So they have that written here as pi times 18 squared. That's 324 pi. And again, if you use the pi button on your calculator instead of 3.14, you get 324 pi is 1017.87602. And that rounds to about 1017.9 square inches, or inches squared. They actually said to the nearest inch, so we'll call that 118 square inches, or 1018 square inches. Okay, in example B, we have a pizza that a slice of a circular pizza measures 9 inches in length. What is the area of the entire pizza? So if you imagine a slice of pizza, when they say 9 inches long, I think they're talking about this measurement, 9. So that would be our radius. And so our radius is 9 inches, so it's going to be area is pi times radius squared. So that's pi times 9 squared, and that is 81 pi. 9 squared is 81. And so then that is, using the pi button on your calculator, 81 pi is 254.46900049. And then if we round to, doesn't say what to round to, so to the nearest square inch, so that's going to be about 254, 254 square inches, rounding to the nearest inch, square inch. Okay, so area is pi times radius squared. All right, so go ahead now and pause your video, try number 9, and then press play when you're ready to check your solution. Okay, so we have a circular swimming pool with a diameter of 18 feet. And so the radius is half of that, and that's 9 feet. And so the area is pi times the radius squared. So that's pi times 9 squared, which is 81 pi. That's the same number that we had in the previous problem. So that is 254.46900049. And then to the nearest foot, that's 254 feet. Squared. Okay, and then number 10, if the radius of a circle is doubled, is the area doubled? So let's try it. Just pick any random number for the radius of a circle. Let's say 7. Then if we make a circle that has twice the radius, this time 14, let's go ahead and find the area and see what happens to the area. So the area for this smaller circle is going to be pi times 7 squared. That's 49 pi. And 49 pi is about 153.938. For this one, the area is going to be pi times 14 squared. That's 196 pi. And that is 196 pi is about 615.7521601. They're both in, let's say, if this is in feet, then this would be square feet. Okay, so we see that it's not doubled. When we double the radius, the area is not doubled. It's actually 4 times as large. If you multiply 153.938 times 4, you will get 615.75216. And so that is, so when you double the radius, the area is actually 4 times as large. So that's what we'll write here. Know if the radius is doubled, the area is actually quadrupled. That means 4 times as large. And that completes our lesson on circumference and area of circles. Have a great day.